Travel is more than just ticking off countries. It's about the people, the culture, the food, the moments. I'm Pippa Hudson, and on Wonder the World, I invite you to join me every week as we explore destinations both near and far, with the help of fellow adventurers who share their unique travel stories. Listen to my podcast wherever you get them.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7.
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. Good morning and welcome. Monday edition. Clem is not here. And it is Thabo Shole-Mashao in his place. I'm excited to be with you. There's quite a lot to deal with. I was listening to Bongani Bingwa earlier on, and he was touching on a very sad issue of crime in this country, how some people are experiencing it firsthand, and so much that criminals have upped the ante. They are now taking it to a whole new, different level. Coming into your house, kicking you out, cleaning the house, and then throwing you out in the street. When you go back in there, there's no furniture, nothing is there. They also kidnap some individuals, do horrible things to them, including rape, and then show the videos to the family, insisting that a ransom is paid within a certain time. That is, of course, that is a criminal activity. But in a long run, it shapes the ethos of a society. It creates a mold of who we are and what we accept. So in a long run, when these things continue to happen, they become a fiber and fabric of who we are as a nation. And we will then reproduce these individuals who keep doing these horrid things, and they will up the levels every single time. It's extremely important not to accept this. It's extremely important to be shocked and to be completely moved by everything else that is happening, which is not right. We shouldn't accept it. It's an anomaly. We should reject it, and we shouldn't get used to it. We can't afford to be numb. We can't afford to be crimed out. We can't afford to accept it when people are saying, you're always speaking about crime. There are so many... We cannot, because it's something that we shouldn't accept as part of who we are. Of course, there would be crime everywhere else in the world. But to this extent, they don't just take your car. They take you with them, demand your soul, your mind and your spirit and everything else that go with it. Let alone that, now you must open up your apps and give them the whole lot of cash that you have, however much you may have, and they'll still demand more. It's not enough that they've cleaned you out. Then you must take out loans as well. So that, there is no crime that should be accepted. I'm the first to say that. And I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm trying to lay out here. No crime is good crime. But there was a time when there was just opportunistic crime, where someone just wanted 200 rands, 500 rands or whatever else, and they take it without harming individuals or doing very little harm. That was still bad. I'm not saying we should accept that. But I'm saying right now it's at another level. We are at a different level. We are at the headquarters of crime. I don't want to say evil, because I don't want to spiritualize the show, because we all come from different denominations, faiths, and so on. So I don't want to say evil. It is, criminality at another level, negativity at another level. So I'm just wondering, to what extent does this shape who we are? And to what extent does this become a reflection of a South Africa that is not becoming better, but becoming worse? Make no mistake, I know there are so many people doing well in this country. There are so many people trying their best for this country to thrive. Plenty of them. But equally so, we have to speak about the bad that happens. without being judged as pessimists, prophets of doom. We can't get used to this kind of nonsense. I listened, and I'm sure you also did, with great amount of pain in your heart when that gentleman spoke to Wangani and explained the ordeal that took place in his life. I am thinking about stories that are untold, people who can't even call a radio station, who can't share their experiences with anyone, the horrid criminal experiences that were visited upon them by others. I am just concerned that there are so many of these stories out there. And we must isolate these criminals. They must feel uncomfortable. They must know that there is a limelight shining on them, watching them. We must speak about them so that they know that we are aware of what they're doing. And it's only a matter of time until we all do something. They must know that we are not okay with this. I mean, sweeping it under the carpet is not going to help at all. So having said that, I urge you between now and 10, please come through, share your experiences, share your thoughts, warn others where the hotspots are if you can. Maybe your experience will allow someone else to escape that painful ordeal. Maybe you giving us heads up on what happened to you or your friend may save someone's life somewhere out there. It could be that you are in that life and now you are leaving it and you want to anonymously share the modus operandi with us so that we know what to look out for. Maybe it could be that you were involved in that criminality, you were in that gang and you were doing all these things and you've turned a corner and now you want to give us heads up. You want to warn us. You want to share and say, guys, this is what we do. This is how you should conduct yourself. This is the best way of escaping it. It could be that you are in the security space as well. You want to share some tips. Those tips may help someone. They just may help someone who will fall victim. I just want us to have a heart-to-heart. I just want us to have a heart-to-heart. Because things clearly are falling out of place. The wheels are coming off. Everything else is dithering, and we need to at least speak about it, put a spotlight on it, shout and scream and say, we are watching you, because bullies thrive when we say nothing about them, when we don't talk about them, when we ignore them. That's when they thrive, and that's when they keep us in a corner and beat us up, and we scream alone in the corner in the darkness of that space where no one can see us or help us. And that's what bullies want us to do, not to speak about their dastardly deeds. I am inviting you to share your experiences, your encounters on this issue, and perhaps your solutions. How do we get through this? This is a beautiful country. We must fight for it. We must fight for it. All of us. All of us. We saw what happened. I mean, it was so sad. It was so sad what took place in the White House. And I'll just keep it to the crime issues, that despite the lies and despite the perhaps fake news about one community being exposed to crime than the others, truth is, we were there and we shared with the world that we are the capital of crime globally. The admissions were there. Zingi Swalosi mentioned that grannies are being raped. And I'm not saying she shouldn't have, but I'm just showing to what extent this has gone. So much that even on the stage where the world is looking at us, there is this huge dark cloud that is hovering above us, that can be evaporated, that can't dissipate into oblivion, because it is right here. And that cloud, dark cloud, is called crime. Not just crime, violent crime, where people don't just take TVs, laptops. They want your life as well and your dignity. They want that. It's not enough that they took your cell phone. They say, where's your dignity? Bring it here as well. By taking those videos and sending it to everyone and raping you and doing all of this for everyone to see. They also want your dignity. What have we become? I mean, what have we become? And these chances are people who are around us, people that we know, people that we greet, people that we go to church with. These may be even colleagues, I shudder to say it, but they are just around us. What do we do? 011-883-0702. You may want to share that with us. 011-883-0702. For now, I just want us to speak heart to heart. I want us to speak as South Africans. As South Africans, I truly want us to speak as a family. And of course, in the family, we'll have our own differences. But at the end of the day, it ought to be a family that unites against all the negativity that comes through. 011-883-0702.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Indeed, your voice notes, feel free to send them to 072-702-1702. Your calls 011-883-0702. Sello, you've been holding for some time. Thanks for your patience. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hello?
Sello, it's your turn, bro.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to speak a little bit about this crime issue. I think if we are a criminal day in South Africa, the market favors you to fight. I mean, NPA is useless. Citizens are all in fear and they are unarmed. Police are threat. Even if you are running, chief, there's no police that is going to catch you. Have you seen how unfit those police officers are? I'm going to outrun those people if I'm a criminal. So my view is South African, there's no justice for victims in South Africa. And even if someone comes into my house, I have to think and be extra careful. I can't protect my own family. And I've always been standing for people must arm themselves and train themselves so that if a need be, they are able to protect things that theirs. And politicians must have laws that protect us to stand our ground. Right now, we don't have rights. People that have rights are criminals. They'll tell me that I must be 100% sure that I'm in danger. By the time I'm 100% sure that I'm in danger, I'm dead. That person has shot me dead. What happened at the White House is just an example of what is happening in the whole of South Africa for everyone that lives in South Africa. I mean, I'm going to a meeting now. I'm parked outside the restaurant. Because I'm driving a bike here, I'm told that I must park near the entrance so that they can see my bike.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. I drive a bike here. I'm in fear every day. I've got a gun with me, but I know that it could go either way.
Yeah.
So my thing is, the more South Africans are armed, because sometimes I experience people being mugged and no one does anything because one man who's a criminal has a gun. But I want you to imagine a scenario where 10 South Africans has guns around that person that is mugging that person. And he knows that there's a possibility that these people are armed. He will think twice before he mugs people. But now he doesn't think twice because he knows that, number one, South Africans are unarmed, are untrained, and the law is in his favor.
Yeah, and I mean, Sidlo, what do we do to change the laws? I suppose we need to petition lawmakers, we need to petition parliament, we need to, I don't know, are you suggesting that lack of deterrence is the main cause as to why we find ourselves in this victimhood place?
There is no incentive for a would-be criminal not to do crime. So we must do everything to incentivize people to not do crime. So the lawmakers must, in other countries, they have got stand your ground laws.
Yeah.
In South Africa, if you walk into my house, chief, I've got a very small window of protecting myself. You've got 98% of the window to kill me.
Yeah.
I must be 100%. There's this thing that I must be sure that my life is in danger.
Yes.
Why do I do those calculations?
But Silo, I know. And you do realize that if somehow we don't have any guidelines, it will be free for all. You'll shoot Thabo, you'll invite me to your house and shoot me because we had a business disagreement and say I was endangering your life. It's an extreme example, I know, but I'm just saying it's open to abuse. The laws are there to provide some guidelines so that we don't have a situation which is exploited.
I hear you, Brother Thabo, but right now, as things are, that abuse is happening on the end of criminals.
Yeah, Silo, I agree 100% that we need to, of course, do something better. Takalo in Joburg. Takalo, hi, welcome.
Hi, good morning, Thabo. How are you?
I'm free, brah, and frustrated and pained by this. How are you? Thanks for asking. How are you?
You're saying, I'm good, thanks, I'm good. You're saying that you're frustrated.
As well, yeah, amongst other feelings as well, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever got hijacked in your life before?
Yes, I have. I have been hijacked in Meadowlands before, and I've said it on air that I'm not just talking about things that I read about. I have been hijacked. I've been beaten up by criminals, and they also used a gun to assault me. And so I have. I know exactly what I'm talking about, and there's proof to the effect. You can go to the police station and ask in Meadowlands as well.
Okay, I get what you're saying, which means that you and I were in the same boat, because the same thing happened to me in Pretoria in 2021 in Acadia.
Yeah.
And then that thing, then when it was happening, I was driving a Polo TSI, and then I had just lost my job. I was unemployed.
Sorry.
And they come and take the car.
Oh no.
On a gunpoint.
Yeah.
And then they drove me around, withdrawing the cash. They drove me around Pretoria, went to Atteridgeville. I'm not looking anywhere. I'm looking down. When I try to raise my head, they are beating me with their gun. They're asking me questions. Where's your girlfriend? Where's the laptop? Give us the laptop. Give us money. So the show that you are having today, I got touched about it. You know, I just want to say that I don't wish anyone to go through that experience.
Yeah.
I don't wish anyone to go through that experience in their lives. It's not nice.
Yeah.
I'm still traumatized even today.
I can imagine.
To a point where I have anger. A lot of it. I don't understand what is happening in this country. I don't understand how are they running this country, because how many young people are unemployed in South Africa? 60%, right? I think.
So. Yeah, and others who have completely stopped looking for employment altogether.
Yes, and then they have got grade 12s, those people. Why don't they take half of them and make them the police?
Well, there are a couple of issues, but I don't want to raise them so that I don't want to dilute a very important issue.
They don't think for us. They don't think for us. They think of themselves only.
Yeah.
Let me conclude.
Yes, bro.
And go to the USA. Trump.
Yeah.
And those people around him. Those white people, they are just racist. That's all. Thank you.
Awamuna, you can't just say that and run away. I hope you're not generalizing. You can't just say that because they're white, they're racist. It doesn't work like that, right? Just as much as you can't say they're black, they're stupid. I would be fighting with you if someone said that. But you can't just assume that, bruh. It's generalization. It's putting people in a group. That it's more nuanced than that, my brother. You know that's not right.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I'm sorry about your hardships. I'm sorry about your experience of being hijacked and being beaten up like that. It must be very difficult. I'm hoping you'll get some help and to deal with the anger that you are speaking about, my brother. And all the best to you, Dagalo. Thanks for calling.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Welcome back. 25 minutes to 10 o'clock. It's Thabo in for Clement. We're together till 12. I'm a bit on the low side of things, especially after hearing about the crime issues in South Africa, how criminals are doing as they please. And my heart goes out to all victims of crime at this particular point. Those who've lost their loved ones, those whose lives have been shared by these criminals, and those who've watched as criminals run amok in the country. My heart goes out to you, and I wish you strength. We had a call from one of our listeners a little bit earlier on who was lamenting the fact that he was a victim of hijack, and at some point the criminals were beating him up, and now he's got anger issues, rightly so, because that experience is traumatizing. being hijacked can leave you a little bit traumatized, especially if the guns are involved and you were beaten up. It does leave you a bit traumatized. And we thought, let's just have a chat and let's not make this normal. This is not how we'd like to raise our kids. This is not the environment that we want for our loved ones. This is not the environment that we want for ourselves. Share with us your story. It could be that you feel just a little bit better, but it could also be that you are helping someone else to survive what would be a life-changing event. 011-883-0702. Let's start off with Lucky in Pretoria. Lucky, hi, welcome.
Good morning, Thabo. Thanks for the opportunity. Thabo, I want to talk about this issue of the Minister of Communication. The Minister of Communication, what he did is, at the level of principle, there's nothing wrong with it because the issue of equity equivalence is catered for in the BE legislation. However, the question of the timing in which he does this becomes an issue because it looks like it gives an impression that he's trying to penal beat legislation. In other words, to change the law in order for the law to comply with non-compliance instead of changing non-compliance to comply with the law. The BE legislation is a very old piece of legislation. In fact, this concept comes from Malaysia in the late 1959s, 1960s. And it was implemented successfully because it was not meant to create a few elites out of those that are political connected like we have seen here. Equity equivalence by their nature are meant to address that shortfall where people use a piece of law, a legitimate piece of law, in order to benefit a particular group of people. Equity equivalence say that instead of doing it in this particular fashion, the company that is supposed to comply is going to apply it differently in a manner that it benefits the majority of the people and in particular the employees in that particular sector. The problem with equity equivalence, again, because it has got its own problem, is that companies find a way to bypass it.
Yes.
They create what they call special purpose vehicles, where they house the BE component that is supposed to be given out to the beneficiaries, whoever the beneficiaries
to the broader public out there who may want to participate economically and financially in those transactions. Yes.
Yes, and short-circuit it in such a manner that at the end of the day, those people don't derive a benefit out of it.
Yeah, it's now, only a few that are within their proximity and that they can also control.
Some are even left worse off.
Yeah.
Because in most of the situations, these things are financed by debt. They create these special purpose vehicles where the shares are financed through debt.
Yes.
And they dilute these shares to make sure that by the end of the term where these people are supposed to realize a benefit, these shares are worth nothing.
Yeah. Lucky, let's leave it at that. I think you've made a great point. And you are saying that deviating from the norm in order to accommodate one individual is problematic. And it is not that I suspect that individuals are against Starlink, but people are saying that, was this cooked long ago? I mean, are we being sold a dummy? There was somehow a predetermination, perhaps even before the trip to the US. Things were done and all of us were just subject to the signatures that were attached and the agreements for public relations purposes. Was this done long ago? And I mean, who's running the country? And who's running the world, one would ask. Is it business or is it politicians? And often politicians are just mere managers. It's the man with cash in the pocket who tells the country which direction to take. 011-883-0702. Slindile, thanks for your patience. You've been holding for long. Really appreciate it. It's your turn.
Thank you, Thabo. Let me just put my point across. I'm interested in hearing your comment. You know, people have been saying that they praise the South African team in the Oval Office, and I don't understand which team, because the people who spoke the most are the three friends of Trump, those white guys, the two golfers and Rupert. And then Cindy Swallows was speaking, the COSATU lady. And then the ministers, they didn't speak. The only minister who spoke is Steenhuisen. And the first thing that he said, I thought he was going to say, is that there's no genocide. He went on and on about Malema and all those things. That he was still in our parliament with MK. But for me, when I travel, that's not important for me, because when you look at our country, we're losing sight of how the Ramaphosa's presidency. We're losing sight. We're busy debating about what happened in the Oval Office, who did what well and who spoke well. Who did. The country is in a dire state. We are in a genocide now. They didn't put it in the right context. This country is in a genocide. Our murder rate is more than the countries that are in a genocide itself. And they were there glorifying crime because they want to defend the genocide. I didn't understand that. For you to defend the genocide, you bring the issue of crime, and yet you said you went there because you want investors. Who investor will come into a country that the president and other citizens were sitting there speaking with the president that he didn't invite because Trump invited his friends, and they're talking about crime in the country, and you had to want investment. Look our country.
But before you move on, and before I forget, because I'll get into trouble and people will say, but you kept quiet when Slindile said this. Slindile, you do know that the definition is rather pointed of the genocide, right? It's not as loosely placed as you'd like it to be. It ought to be, at least there must be an intention to destroy one part or a whole of individuals or a collective, either ethnically or religiously, or a religious group. So in that way, if it was a genocide, you'd have to have an intention to say, we are getting rid of the Catholics in South Africa. So if Thabo is Catholic, we are going to go after him, like we saw the Hutus and the Tutsis conflict in Rwanda, just as we are voting for the first time here in South Africa. So I'm just saying that there's a specific definition for a genocide. And if it's your view that there's a genocide, is it consistent with this definition, you think?
Yes, you know, when you're still battling with the definition of a genocide, all I'm saying is that the deaths in this country, you can equal them into a genocide. The deaths, it doesn't matter who kills who. The deaths in South Africa, take the stats of people who are dying. It doesn't matter whether they are Zulus or the Africans. It doesn't matter what the term says. I'm saying the level of crime, how people are dying in this country. You find people going to a tavern and shooting 15 people dead.
Yeah.
You know, during the insurrection that we were talking about, 300 people died. You know, so what do you call them?
Yeah, it rivals that of a war zone, right? And I agree with you on that one. It was just a genocide that I was correct in that. If you say so, it means that there's an intention to get rid of a specific group. I'm not doing away with a very important point that you're making, that the level of crime rivals that of in countries that are war-torn.
Yeah, I understand, Thabo, but let's not lose sight of it. We say we have a best constitution, but we are an unequal society. That doesn't make sense also. So let's not lose sight of Ramaphosa and his failures, because for me, Ramaphosa is beating all the records of Jacob Zuma with his failures. We are worse than we were when Zuma did. Not that I'm praising Zuma, you are with the West. Now Ramaphosa is beating those records. We're beating records of wrong things in this country. We are number one in wrong things. Everything that is wrong, we are number one.
And Slindile, what do you think really is an issue with people not standing up and saying that we demand change? And I'm not inciting anyone. I'm just saying legally, through a vote or through petitioning, through legal means. Why do you think that people are just so detained on their chairs and their couches not to speak out and not to demand change?
Oh, thank you for that question, Thabo, because you're saying something that I was talking about very this morning. They are in a GNU. DA is protecting Ramaphosa because they are also protecting their self-interest. But I'm disappointed with the other parties, like the EFF, the smaller parties, as they did with Zuma, with I think 7 of vote of no confidence. Ramaphosa hasn't got even one. Even if they protect him, the DA protects Ramaphosa and the ANC. But at least history will tell that they did that.
Slindile, let's leave it at that. Really appreciate your time. Lucy, you are in Joburg. Lucy, hi.
Hello, good morning to you, Thabo.
Good
Your
morning.
introduction was spot on this morning.
Thank you.
I'm an old lady. I'm 87 years of age. I'd like to give you my CV of crime. I've been hijacked. I've been tied up in my house twice. I've been robbed a dozen times. I've been mugged 5 times. I'm not traumatized. I'm angry. I'm not angry with the people that do it. I'm angry with this government. I cannot believe that we have 300 municipal or councillors. What have they done in Joburg? Cleaned or what have they done? What has the government done? It's unbelievable. It's actually a tragedy. It's not a disaster. Honestly, that is my feeling. We need harsher punishment for the crime. Surely, people that commit rape and then are out on parole and do it the same week, 1 week later should be castrated, for sure. And people that murder and little babies of 6 months or rape them and slit their throats and burn them should be put to death. Who's got human rights? Has that baby not got human rights? I just don't understand what's going on. And it's just a tragedy.
Yeah.
And all I can say is I'm equally frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm equally depressed about it. And I just don't know what can be done about it and how they are going to overcome this crime.
Before you go, Lucy, if you don't mind sharing a few seconds with me on this issue of crime, I wanted to find out from you, is it your belief that if there were more stringent ways of punishing criminals or correcting criminals, or their sentences were a little bit harsher, that things would change? Or could it be that the true deterrent is not being caught? People knowing that they'll get away with it and they're not going to be caught to start off with. So punishment is just way down the line. The real thing is that they'll escape the harshness of the law because they're not going to be caught anyway to start off with. Therefore, it speaks to the investigative capabilities of our police to trace the criminal and take and hold them to the courts.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. I know statistics show that death penalties and sentences actually, they say, doesn't improve matters. But do we need those people running around the streets? That's the point. But, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we under populated as far as the police are concerned. And the trouble is, they're in with the crime people as well.
Yeah.
You know, the last time I got robbed here and retired in my house was about a year ago.
Oh, no.
Okay, in Sandton at 11 o'clock on the Tuesday. The Sandton police arrived. They must have been tips of them, detectives and what have you. They sat me around the table. They discussed everything with me. They were going to catch people within the next day.
Yeah.
At any rate, I never heard from them again.
Good. Lucy, thank you so much for your thoughts and for contributing to the show. Really appreciate it. Feel free to do so as well on 072 702 1702 11 to 10.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
7 minutes to 10 o'clock. Thabo in for Clement. You're on 702. Great having you with us. Let's continue the discussion. We're speaking about BEE, triple BE. We're speaking about crime. And I'm hoping that some of you, especially in the security industry, will call in just to give us some tips, right? And tell us at which specific times between 4 and 6 it could be that there are most hijackings and whereabout. Give us the hotspots. Give us some tips as to what to do. Please do that as well. Of course, we need to lament the issues, but you also, if you can help us with a little bit of assistance so that the conversation produces a bit of lesser victims. Feel free to do so on 011-883-0702. I would love to hear from you. What did you do? What saved your life? Is it because you refused to jump into the boot when they were throwing you in there and you said, no, rather do it here? Is it because you complied 100%? And what is it that saved your life? And what is it that saves lives under such circumstances? Please share with us those tips as well. And your experiences, most welcome to put them on the table. And venting may just help. It just may help. 011-883-0702. We have voice notes, Abel.
Good morning, Thabo. I personally believe that the South African government doesn't care about our safety. And look now, these guys, they want to take away the power from the security companies. These security companies are already playing a bigger role but now they say they want to take away the power because they can see these people are really helping us. And on top of that, this government continue to overtax us. We want to provide our own safety, want to hire our own private companies. They might just let go of our tax money. They can at least give us back half of that money because we're already catering for ourselves. We pay for our own security companies. We go to the private school because the government school, they're under-resourced. We even have to buy our own water because the water that they supply is dirty. So this government doesn't care. As long as they've got bodyguard and all this stuff, they don't really care about us. For them is to continue taking more and more and leave us vulnerable.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is Johnny from Joburg.
Thanks.
Good morning, Thabo.
Morning.
You forgot to mention that all these crimes that we are talking about are done by black people. We are killed by our our own black people. We are robbed by black people. When we say this, people are saying self-hate, but it's easy to say white this, white that, white this, white that every day. And on the BEE, we are not benefiting from that. Only politicians. BEE was only made for politicians, not us. Thank you.
Good morning, Thabo. So my question is, mob justice is not the answer.
Yeah.
Shooting to kill is not the answer. The police are corrupt is not the answer. Closing borders is not the answer. Reporting is not the answer. When you do report, you get killed so exactly who is to blame and how do we implement this? Because we don't want to ignore it. It is a problem we have. But obviously the solutions that we do have to protect ourselves are not the right answers either.
Yeah.
And the people that we can report to are corrupt. Yeah. So please, can somebody shine a light to what we should do then? Because it's not like we're not doing anything. Overpopulation, I don't know.
Yeah, it is worrying. And what is the answer? I don't think there's one specific answer. It could be a conglomeration of various aspects, putting them together to come up with an answer. And your frustration is very clear in your voice. I cannot devalue that. I shouldn't devalue that at all. And we are asking for answers. We are shrugging our shoulders and say, what is it that we can do to get ourselves out of this serious problem? You have the most wonderful patriots being attacked, and someone said, it's black people mainly committing crimes. I can't run away from that. The stats are there for all to see. Of course, as the majority, we would be culprit to such instances. But there's a lot to be said about that as well. It needs a show on its own. And I'm not the one to run away from those realities. It is, and it's embarrassing. It also speaks to the socioeconomic conditions of a people that are lamenting change and become despondent over time, and they sit around and do nothing. And that is not to say that it's the poor who are committing crime, but there ought to be a link somehow between socioeconomic inactivity and crime. Let us know. 011